For years, Lady Louise Windsor remained one of the most low-profile members of the royal family, overshadowed by her more publicized relatives and quietly navigating life outside the royal spotlight. But behind palace walls, a major royal decision was brewing, one that would shake Buckingham Palace to its core. When Prince William, the future King of England, stunned Buckingham Palace with a jaw-dropping decision on his cousin, the monarchy was left in shock. What did he do, and why did it send ripples through the royal family? Stay with us as we uncover the jaw-dropping decision that no one saw coming. A royal enigma, Lady Louise Windsor, the eldest child of Prince Edward, Duke of Edinburgh, and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, has long been one of the most enigmatic figures within the British royal family. Despite her close proximity to the throne, her father being the youngest son of the late Queen Elizabeth II, Lady Louise's upbringing was strikingly different from that of her cousins, Prince William and Prince Harry. While they were raised in the full glare of the media spotlight, every aspect of their lives dissected by the press, Louise was granted a more private, almost understated childhood. This was a deliberate decision made by Queen Elizabeth II and her youngest son, Prince Edward. At the time of Louise's birth in 2003, the monarchy was evolving, shifting away from traditions that once dictated the future of every royal child. Instead of bestowing the automatic title of princess upon Louise, as was her birthright under the 1917 letters patent issued by King George V, the Queen chose to style her and her younger brother, James, as the children of an earl rather than as full-fledged royals. Prince Edward, who was granted the title of the Earl of Wessex upon his marriage, had also expressed a desire for his children to have as normal a life as possible, one free from the constraints and pressures of royal duty. Thus, Lady Louise Windsor grew up largely outside of royal protocol. She was raised at Bagshot Park, the family's expansive residence in Surrey, and attended St. George's School in Windsor before moving on to St. Mary's School in Ascot. Unlike many of her royal relatives, she wasn't thrust into the spotlight, nor was she expected to undertake engagements on behalf of the monarchy. Instead, she was allowed to cultivate her own interests, which included a deep passion for equestrian sports, a trait she inherited from her late grandfather, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. However, as she matured, it became clear that Lady Louise was far from just an ordinary aristocratic young woman. She exuded an intelligence and grace that made her stand out within royal circles. Her keen academic abilities led her to secure a place at the prestigious University of St. Andrews in Scotland, the very institution where her cousin Prince William met his future wife Catherine. Here, Louise found herself at a fascinating crossroads. Despite being legally entitled to claim her royal status upon turning 18 in 2021, she made the surprising choice to continue using the title of lady rather than princess. This decision, seen by many as a reflection of her humility and sense of duty, solidified her image as a reserved yet promising royal. Unlike her cousins Beatrice and Eugenie, who despite being titled princesses, often faced scrutiny over their roles in the monarchy, Louise remained largely untouched by controversy. Even so, she continued to make quiet yet significant appearances at major royal events, from the funeral of Prince Philip to the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, where her composure and dignity did not go unnoticed. For years, it seemed that Louise was content with her path. But as time passed, whispers within royal circles suggested that her decision to remain untitled might not be as permanent as once thought. As she gained maturity and experience, she began contemplating her place within the institution. And then, in a move that sent shockwaves through Buckingham Palace, everything changed. Lady Louise Windsor, once the quiet royal who had chosen a life outside of the spotlight, was about to be the object of a jaw-dropping decision from Prince William that no one, least of all the royal family, saw coming. Prince William's royal perspective, as the future King of England, has long been recognized for his measured, deliberate, and forward-thinking approach to royal matters. Throughout his life, he has walked a fine line between upholding centuries-old traditions and embracing the evolving expectations of a modern monarchy. Unlike his father, King Charles III, who has been steadfast in his mission to streamline and modernize the institution by reducing the number of working royals, William has developed his own philosophy, one that respects tradition but is not afraid to challenge outdated conventions. From a young age, William was acutely aware of the weight of his destiny. His upbringing under the careful guidance of his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, instilled in him a profound sense of duty. However, his experiences as a husband, father, and heir to the throne have shaped his vision for the monarchy's future in ways that even his closest advisors did not anticipate. Where his father saw a need for efficiency and exclusivity, William saw an opportunity to strengthen the royal family through unity and loyalty. One individual who increasingly captured William's attention in this evolving landscape was his younger cousin, Lady Louise Windsor. Unlike some of her more publicized royal relatives, Louise has spent most of her life out of the media spotlight. Raised by Prince Edward and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, in a relatively quiet and private environment, Louise developed a keen understanding of the monarchy's significance without seeking attention for herself. For years, William quietly observed her unassuming presence and unwavering loyalty to the royal family. Unlike some of their cousins whose public personas often dominated headlines, Louise exuded a quiet grace and an innate sense of duty. There was something about her demeanor that set her apart, a humility, a dignity, and an unmistakable resemblance to their late grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. Many within royal circles whispered that she carried the same quiet strength and steadfast commitment to service that defined the Queen's reign. Though she was given the choice at 18 to adopt the title of Her Royal Highness and take on official duties, Louise chose to remain simply Lady Louise, focusing on her education and personal aspirations. This decision reflected both her parents' desire for her to have a normal upbringing and her own reluctance to step into the royal limelight without purpose. However, to those paying close attention, including Prince William, it became increasingly clear that Louise possessed all the qualities of a dedicated working royal. As William began to shape his vision for the monarchy's future, he recognized that the royal family's public image was shifting. The departure of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the aging of senior royals, and the declining number of active family members left noticeable gaps in the institution's ability to maintain its traditional engagements. There was growing concern that the workload once distributed across numerous royals would eventually fall on too few shoulders. It was in this context that William's thoughts turned to Lady Louise. Could she be the unexpected answer to the monarchy's evolving challenges? Would she be willing to step into a role she had never formally pursued? These questions began to weigh heavily on William, leading him to consider something unprecedented, offering Lady Louise Windsor a royal position that would not only redefine her future, but also send shockwaves through Buckingham Palace. This keeps the original wording intact while improving readability through proper paragraph structuring. Let me know if you need any refinements. And steadfast commitment to service that defined the Queen's reign. Though she was given the choice at 18 to adopt the title of Her Royal Highness and take on official duties, Louise chose to remain simply Lady Louise, focusing on her education and personal aspirations. This decision reflected both her parents' desire for her to have a normal upbringing and her own reluctance to step into the royal limelight without purpose. However, to those paying close attention, including Prince William, it became increasingly clear that Louise possessed all the qualities of a dedicated working royal. As William began to shape his vision for the monarchy's future, he recognized that the royal family's public image was shifting. The departure of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the aging of senior royals, and the declining number of active family members left noticeable gaps in the institution's ability to maintain its traditional engagements. There was growing concern that the workload, once distributed across numerous royals, would eventually fall on too few shoulders. It was in this context that William's thoughts turned to Lady Louise. Could she be the unexpected answer to the monarchy's evolving challenges? Would she be willing to step into a role she had never formally pursued? These questions began to weigh heavily on William, leading him to consider something unprecedented, offering Lady Louise Windsor a royal position that would not only redefine her future, but also send shockwaves through Buckingham Palace. It was a decision no one saw coming. The unexpected proposal behind closed doors. The corridors of Buckingham Palace buzzed with hushed speculation, an air of secrecy surrounding the meetings taking place, known only to a select few. Prince William, in deep consultation with his closest advisors and his wife, Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, was preparing to make a move that could shift the balance of the monarchy itself. His vision was bold, and his reasoning was unshakable. William's proposal was audacious. Lady Louise Windsor should formally assume her birthright title and be recognized as Her Royal Highness, Princess Louise of Edinburgh. The reaction was immediate, stunned silence, even among his most trusted advisors. There was hesitation, if not outright shock. Traditionally, the bestowing or recognition of royal titles required the express approval of the reigning monarch, King Charles III, and in a time when Charles was focused on streamlining the monarchy, such a move could be seen as directly challenging his authority. But William had a different plan in mind. He did not intend to seek permission. Instead, he intended to make a bold and public declaration that would leave everyone, including the king, utterly blindsided. This was not just about Louise. Nor was it merely a symbolic gesture. It was about something much bigger, a statement on the future of the royal family itself. With Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stepping away from royal duties, and with Prince Andrew permanently sidelined, the monarchy had been left with a dwindling number of trusted working royals. William saw Lady Louise as the perfect candidate to bridge this growing gap, and by publicly acknowledging her status as a princess, he would not only honor her legacy, but also reinforce the institution's strength at a time when stability was more critical than ever. Still, the risks were undeniable. How would King Charles react? Would he view this as an act of defiance? And most crucially, how would Lady Louise herself respond to suddenly being thrust into the center of royal life? For William, there was no turning back now. The wheels were already in motion, and once he made the announcement, there would be no erasing the impact of his decision. Resistance from the palace. The moment word reached Buckingham Palace of William's intentions, tension soared. Senior officers and advisors swiftly moved to push back against the idea. To them, this was not just a personal decision by the Prince of Wales, but a significant shift in the monarchy's carefully crafted structure. King Charles had spent years working toward a vision of a more streamlined modern monarchy, one that would lessen the financial burden on the British public while consolidating power within a tighter, more controlled inner circle. The late Queen Elizabeth II had already set this course in motion, and Charles, upon ascending the throne, had continued to reinforce it. He had significantly reduced the number of working royals, ensuring that only those closest to the throne retained official duties. Lady Louise Windsor, the quiet and studious daughter of Prince Edward and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, had never been included in this vision. Her parents had long positioned her for a private life, encouraging her to pursue an education outside the royal bubble, away from the scrutiny and obligations of senior royal duties. But William's decision to bring her into the fold, especially in such a dramatic and public manner, was seen as a direct challenge to the very foundation of Charles's monarchy. Senior aides were concerned that this would set a precedent, reigniting debates over who should be given royal status, particularly as discussions about a monarchy fit for the 21st century continued. Queen Camilla, in particular, was said to have voiced strong opposition to the move. Having supported Charles through years of delicate negotiations to reduce the monarchy's size, she saw William's decision as an unnecessary complication. The last thing the palace needed was more internal disputes. It was already juggling the fallout from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's departure, their repeated public criticisms of the institution, and their decision to claim prince and princess titles for their children, Archie and Lilibet. For Camilla, the optics were troubling. With the Sussexes fighting for their children's titles a Montecito, William's move to bestow, or rather publicly affirm, a royal title for Lady Louise could stir fresh controversy. Would this be perceived as a move to reward loyalty and punish those who had distanced themselves from the firm? Would it be seen as favoritism? More importantly, would it deepen the rift between William and Harry, creating another layer of division within the family? Yet, despite the mounting concerns and internal resistance, William remained undeterred. His mind was set, and his vision for Lady Louise was clear. He was prepared to execute his plan in a way that left no room for debate, no space for hesitation. This was not just about one title or one cousin. It was about the future of the monarchy, and William was ready to stake his claim to leadership in a way that no one at the palace had expected. The public statement that shook the monarchy. On a crisp spring morning, an unusual air of anticipation hung over Kensington Palace. Reporters and royal watchers lined the grand entrance, cameras at the ready, expecting another routine engagement, perhaps an update on royal duties, a new patronage announcement, or a statement on the family's ongoing charitable efforts. But what unfolded was nothing short of historic. At precisely 10 a.m., the grand doors of the palace swung open, and out stepped Prince William, the Prince of Wales, his expression composed yet resolute. At his side, Catherine, Princess of Wales, stood with her signature poise, her presence only adding gravity to what was about to unfold. Yet, it was the third figure accompanying them who sent shockwaves through the gathered press. Standing beside them, poised and graceful, was Lady Louise Windsor. The young royal, who had largely remained out of the public eye and had never used a royal title, was suddenly at the center of an unprecedented moment. As murmurs rippled through the crowd, Prince William stepped forward and cleared his throat. Silence fell. With measured precision, he began, after deep reflection and in the spirit of honoring the wishes and legacy of Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, I wish to affirm and fully support Lady Louise Windsor in assuming the title that is rightfully hers, Princess Louise of Edinburgh. The words hung in the air, Almost unreal gasps broke out among the press corps. This was no ordinary declaration. This was a major royal decision, one that had bypassed the usual layers of royal bureaucracy. For years, Lady Louise had been the quiet royal, raised with a modest profile under the guidance of her parents, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. She had always been regarded as a private citizen, despite being a direct granddaughter of the late Queen Elizabeth II. The decision not to style her as princess had been made at birth, a choice influenced by the changing royal landscape and the desire to allow her a life outside the constraints of royal duty. Yet now, in one unprecedented moment, that trajectory had shifted. The weight of the moment was inescapable. It was a clear repositioning of the monarchy, a move that signaled a shift in royal dynamics, particularly in the wake of other departures from senior royal life. With Prince Harry and Meghan Markle no longer serving as working royals, and with Prince Andrew's exile from public duties, there had been speculation that the monarchy would need to adjust. Yet few had expected this, Lady Louise, once seen as a peripheral figure, being formally ushered into the heart of royal life. As cameras flashed and reporters scrambled to process the seismic nature of the announcement, Lady Louise herself remained poised. A slight smile graced her lips, graceful but measured. She had been raised away from the royal limelight, but this moment marked a profound shift in her role. With one firm declaration, Prince William had defied tradition, made a bold statement about the monarchy's future, and stunned Buckingham Palace in the process. The fallout within Buckingham Palace, the aftermath of William's jaw-dropping decision, sent shockwaves through the royal institution, creating an atmosphere of tension and uncertainty within the palace walls. King Charles III, caught entirely off guard by the sudden declaration, was said to have been deeply frustrated by the move. Not necessarily because he opposed Lady Louise Windsor receiving recognition, but rather due to the manner in which the decision was made, without extensive consultation with the monarch or the senior royal advisors. Behind closed doors, palace aides scrambled to manage the fallout, debating the best course of action. Would the king publicly support his son's decision, embracing the modernization of the monarchy through a younger generation's influence? Or would he attempt to counter the move, asserting his own authority and ensuring that such declarations were made solely under his discretion? The latter option risked alienating not only William but also the growing segment of the British public that had grown weary of rigid traditions and bureaucratic monarchy politics. Some advisors feared that if Charles resisted the decision too strongly, it could deepen the divide between the king and the Prince of Wales, fueling speculation of a power struggle between father and son. Amid the internal chaos, the public response was overwhelmingly positive. Across social media, news outlets, and televised discussions, the sentiment was clear. Lady Louise Windsor was the perfect candidate for a greater royal role. With her understated elegance, quiet dignity, and genuine passion for charitable causes, she had long been admired for her humility and grace. Unlike other younger royals who had found themselves at the center of controversies, scandals, or political debates, Lady Louise had remained steadfastly devoted to her studies and responsibilities, drawing comparisons to the early years of Queen Elizabeth II. For many royal watchers, the idea of Lady Louise stepping into a more prominent position within the royal family felt like a return to tradition, a nod to the values that Queen Elizabeth II had upheld for decades. Her upbringing, largely out of the public eye, had prepared her for such a moment, and the public viewed her as a figure of continuity, bridging the legacy of the past with the expectations of the future. Some even speculated that her newfound status could mark the beginning of a new chapter for the monarchy, one that prioritized duty over drama, service over spectacle. However, while the general public celebrated the announcement, not everyone within the royal family was as enthusiastic. Some courtiers whispered concerns that the move could set a precedent for other lesser-known royals to push for higher status or privileges. Others questioned whether Lady Louise herself had truly desired the position, or if she had simply accepted it out of a sense of loyalty to her cousin, Prince William. And then there was the matter of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Would this decision be seen as a deliberate snub to their children, who had fought for their prince and princess titles despite stepping away from royal duties? As the days passed, the fallout continued to ripple through Buckingham Palace, raising questions about the future of the monarchy and the delicate dynamics within the royal family. Would King Charles eventually embrace the decision as a unifying moment for the royal institution, or would it become another source of division? And most importantly, was this just the beginning of Prince William asserting his vision for the monarchy in ways that would reshape the future of the crown? In the days that followed Lady Louise Windsor's historic recognition, the royal sphere was abuzz with speculation. Commentators, journalists and historians alike debated the long-term implications of this unprecedented move. Would Lady Louise step into a more prominent public role? Could she eventually emerge as one of the most influential royals of her generation? Royal analysts examined every angle of this development, noting how Louise's entrance into the royal fold could fill a crucial gap left by recent departures. With senior members of the royal family either stepping back or aging out of their roles, the monarchy had faced increasing pressure to rejuvenate itself. Many believe that Louise, with her natural elegance and quiet dignity, was precisely the kind of figure the monarchy needed, a young royal who respected tradition yet resonated with modern values. The unwavering support of Prince William made one thing clear: this was not a fleeting headline. This was the beginning of something much bigger. The monarchy had found an unexpected yet formidable new face, one who could shape its future in ways few had predicted. Some royal insiders suggested that this move foreshadowed William's long-term vision as a future king. Unlike his predecessors, who were often bound by strict adherence to royal protocols, William had demonstrated a willingness to challenge traditions if it meant strengthening the monarchy's relevance. But not everyone saw it that way. Critics argued that by making such a bold move, William had set a dangerous precedent. If he could extend a title to Lady Louise, what would stop other lesser-known royals from expecting the same treatment? As the dust settled, one truth remained undeniable. This was a major royal decision that would go down in history. It was bold, it was unexpected, and it had fundamentally altered the trajectory of the monarchy. Was Prince William's major royal decision a bold step towards strengthening the monarchy, or a shocking risk that could change royal traditions forever? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more royal updates. See you in the next video. This was a deliberate decision made by Queen Elizabeth II and her youngest son, Prince Edward. At the time of Louise's birth in 2003, the monarchy was evolving, shifting away from traditions that once dictated the future of every royal child. Instead of bestowing the automatic title of princess upon Louise, as was her birthright under the 1917 letters patent issued by King George V, the Queen chose to style her and her younger brother, James, as the children of an earl rather than as full-fledged royals. Prince Edward, who was granted the title of the Earl of Wessex upon his marriage, had also expressed a desire for his children to have as normal a life as possible, one free from the constraints and pressures of royal duty.